Hello everyone, I'm Michelle Smith and welcome back to my channel. I have a Dollar Tree DIY for you today. In today's crafting adventure, I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful floral birdhouse centerpiece or tabletop decor. Everything that I used in this project, except for the paint, came from Dollar Tree. The paint I picked up from Walmart. Let me show you how to make it. Here is a list of the tools and materials I used to complete the project. For your convenience, I've also included a detailed list in the description box below. Let's get started. In today's craft, I'm going to be reusing this. I had used this for a different floral arrangement and I took it apart. I'm using this Floral Gardens. You can use one of these. If you can't find these in your store, Dollar Tree also carries the flower box planters. You can use one of those. Inside, I have one full floral block glued down, and then I cut another one in half and glued that on top. And then I have it weighted with some white rocks. Okay, so this is going to be our base. You're also going to need a package of the Crafter Square wood dowels. These are the long ones, and these are 12 inches in length, and you get 10 pieces. You will need 3. And then you're also going to need 3 of the birdhouses of your choice from Dollar Tree. Now, I prepped it this far. I wanted to make sure that these were fully set before I moved forward. And I just used some wood glue and some hot glue to glue each dowel to the base of the birdhouse. And I've done that to 3 of them. That one, and this one, and this one. Now, all I did was go from corner to corner and draw an X, and the center of the X shows you the center, and that's where I glued it. And then on this birdhouse, because I could only find 2 different kinds, I wanted 3 different looks. I went ahead and covered the roof here with some popsicle sticks. And I used the regular small craft sticks. I just measured how long I wanted it, cut it, and then cut several. You'll need 7 to do each level. And then I took another 2 and cut to do the top there. Okay. So that is how I prepped everything. We're going to start painting our little birdhouses. For this one, I'm going to be using the Waverly Antique Wax, Holly Branch by Apple Barrel, and Khaki by Apple Barrel. I'm going to start here on the roof. I want to do that with the antique wax. Because this is wood, the antique wax will make it look really pretty. It'll also help bring out some of the grain in the popsicle sticks or craft sticks. Just get in there and get a good coat of the antique wax on. Once you've got that on, you want to take a paper towel and then go through and wipe off any excess. And when you do that, that's when you're really going to see the wood grain come out. And that's what it should look like. Now, when I was attaching the popsicle sticks, I used wood glue and then just one dab of hot glue to keep it in place until that wood glue set. I'm going to go ahead and finish the roof, and then I'll be right back. I got my roof all done. I think it looks really good. Now I'm going to paint the base of the house, and I'm going to do that with the holly branch. Now, feel free to choose whatever colors you want. Paint your birdhouses however you like them. I'm going to finish painting the base of my birdhouse. I got the base done. Now I'm going to paint the very bottom, and I'm going to paint this khaki. Okay, I finished painting the base on my birdhouse. I'm really happy with that. I'm going to set this aside and let it dry, and I'm going to paint the base colors on the rest of my birdhouses. So I got the base paint done on my other two houses. On this one, I used Apple Barrel True Blue, and I used the antique wax on the top and the khaki on the bottom. And then on this one, I used Cardinal Crimson mixed with Nutmeg Brown for the base. And then again, around the edges, I used the antique wax and the khaki on the bottom. Now I did not do the top because I'm going to cover the top here with moss. You'll also need a bag of moss. I'm using the floral moss that you can get at Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to take this and kind of fill in a little bit around the bottom. I'm not going to do the top here simply because I think there's going to be enough florals that you're not going to be able to see it. But just in case, I'm going to put a little bit around the bottom. And then we're going to go ahead and add that moss to the top of this birdhouse. Okay, go ahead and set that aside. To attach the moss to your birdhouse, you want to break up all of the moss into smaller pieces. This will make it easier, plus the moss will go a lot further. And I'm just going to start by adding some hot glue. And I'm going to use the tip of my hot glue gun to help spread it out. And then so I don't burn myself, I'm going to take that and push it into the moss. Don't worry how it looks. Once you get it covered, we'll go back with scissors and trim everything down. So just keep adding some hot glue and dipping it into the moss until you have both sides covered. So as you can see, I got it covered with moss and it looks very messy, but we're going to clean that up. So just take your scissors and then follow the shape of the roof and just trim off the excess. Yeah, it looks better already. And then just kind of push everything down. And if you have anything that's really wild or it's too thick and full, you can always take your scissors and go through and clean up that as well. And then once you clean it up, if it reveals any open spots on your roof, just go back, add a little bit more hot glue and some more. Now on my blue birdhouse, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do some whitewash on there, some dry brush painting with white. I just took one of my brushes and I took my scissors and I nipped in at the top so that I could get it really jagged. And then I'm just going to go in and do some quick little white dry brushing. I just want to add some texture and more character. And just slowly work my way around and add some. Just do a little bit first until you get the majority of the paint off, and then you can go back and kind of work through some of the others. I just want this to have a little bit more texture, look a little aged and weathered. Again, if you get too much of the white on there, you can always go back with the original base color and do dry brushing with that to help blend in some of the other color. See, like right there, I just got too much. That's okay. I can always go back. Just dab a small amount and go back over it and blend it in. I'm also going to go in with just a little bit of a gray color and do the same thing on this one. That'll also help kind of tone down the white. And there you go. So just work on it until you're happy with it. Now on my little greenhouse, I want to add some vines and leaves and some flowers. So I have a really nice, really small tipped brush. This is for detail work, and this is what I'm going to use. And I'm going to start with some brown vines. I want it to look like the vines and the leaves and things are just climbing on the side of the house. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we're also going to be adding some leaves. Now for the leaves, I'm going to be using 2 lighter color greens so that they stand out on the darker green. And I'm just going to take a brush and I'm just going to go in and do some dabbing for some leaves. And I'm starting with the lighter color as a highlight kind of. Then go in with some darker. And kind of go over the lighter a little bit so you only see a little bit. That way it gives it that highlighted look. Now you can add as many leaves as you want. You don't have to do this part if you don't want to, but I want each birdhouse to look very unique. And I'm just kind of dabbing with the tip of my brush so that it looks like little leaves. So you do want to cover up some of the brown, but not all of it. So it looks like that. I'm going to finish adding my vines and my leaves to my green birdhouse. So I finished my little green birdhouse. I'm really happy with it. I went in and added some little red blooms. That'll help tie it into the red birdhouse. I'm really happy. I did have to go back and kind of clean up around the edge, which was no big deal, but I'm really pleased. I think it looks absolutely fabulous. So this one is all done. On my greenhouse for the base, I used holly branch. Then for the leaves, I used the Kelly Green and I used Limeade. And the red is the same color that I used on the red house, which is the crimson, cardinal crimson. Now to finish off our little red house, I want this to kind of look like it's a brick house. So I'm going to be using a fine tipped brush and the color khaki. And then I'm just going to go in and start with doing some kind of uneven but lines that go across. And then I'm going to divide that into what looks like bricks. I finished my red house. Now I wanted it to look like it was a brick house, so I just took some khaki paint, did some lines, and made some bricks. The lines are not straight or anything, but I really like the look. And then I went in with a little dry brushing with some khaki and some white and just touched up in a few places on the bricks. I'm really happy with how it came out. So I believe I accomplished my 3 distinctive birdhouses. I really like them. I think they are all so pretty. Okay, so now we're going to start assembling everything. Okay, now I want my red house to be in the center. So I'm going to place that one first. And I want it here, so it's the tallest. And I placed it in the back of the foam. Then I'm going to take each one of these and place them on each side down, and I'm going to push them all the way down, and they're going to be more towards the front. Okay, so I have 2 in the front and the one in the center in the back. And it's higher than the 2. So they look like that. Now we're going to go ahead and place our florals. Now I pulled out several florals, as you can see, and several different colors. I want this to be very springy, so I pulled out 2 hot bush, one in purple and one in pink. I don't know how to pronounce this one, so I'll just show you the tag. And I think this is very pretty. They had 2 different colors of these, so I pulled out one stem. I pulled out one stem of this really pretty dark blue fuchsia. This really pretty pink and white agapantha. I pulled out some white lilac. Some narcissus. And I really like these. They are called Spike. And I pulled out some crocus. These look like little tulips. And this one, I'm sorry, doesn't have a tag on it, but I thought the colors were pretty. And then I also pulled out a mix of greenery that I have so that I can fill in once I get all my blooms in. So how I prepare my florals is I just go ahead and push all of my greenery up, And I start by cutting them as long as they can get. I can always cut them shorter or push them into the foam further. So I'm going to start with my spike plant here. These are the tallest flowers. So because these are the tallest, I'm going to start by putting these in the back. And I just don't want them taller than the birdhouses, the top birdhouse. You need to just push them down further into the foam. Okay, so I have all of my spike placed. I put one in each corner on the top foam and then two on either side in the back. I still have a few more pieces if I want to fill in later. Next, I'm going to go to these really pretty agapanthus because they're also really tall. So again, I'm going to start in the back and start to fill in. You want to start with your tallest flowers and then work your way to your shorter flowers as you put them in. And you want to evenly mix them throughout the arrangement. I'm all done. I got all my florals placed. I did use all of the ones that I showed you with the exception of the purple crocus. So it took me about 10 stems of florals. And then the only greenery that I used is this one that looks kind of like a Boston fern. And I used 2 stems of that. So I'm very pleased with how it looks. It's kind of tall to get it all on camera there, but there are the birdhouses sitting above all the florals. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's craft. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up and leave me some love in the comments. This really does help support my channel. It lets YouTube know that I have content that's worth watching. Also, let me know in the comments which birdhouse was your favorite. Thanks again for stopping by. You know it's always a pleasure to see you. I hope everyone is staying happy, healthy, and strong. You have a great day, and I will catch you next time.